तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। Hari Om and welcome to today's Satsang. We are meeting after a gap of 3 days and I hope we have not got rusted and our thinking is sharper than before with the rest is going to be tested, because now I find Bhagwan has shifted gears. So far he was just pointing out something, now he is now forcing us to think. So as I see it, the entire layout of these verses has been hammering your delusions. Am I audible, Anuji?
Yes.
No, I think she was just having. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So he was hammering at our delusions, and if you recall, Anilji, we had a small discussion while we were doing sadhana panchakam. Why is it that we do not know ourselves? And during the discussion we said that it is because of the impurity of being attached to the world around. So it is that impurity that keeps us from knowing ourselves. So we need to purify ourselves. So there are so many ways. Bhagwan has mentioned Bhaj Govindam 3 times, indicating you can take Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga, many of these paths. But importantly, your delusions have to be removed. Because when you say purify, it essentially means whatever you are deluded with. What are you deluded with? The untruth. You are attached to something which is not true. It is the pull and attraction of the world around that deludes you and keeps you from pursuing the path of the truth. So he has dealt a hammer blow to our delusions, whether it is Vittaishana, whether it is Putraishana, whether it is Lokaishana. And then he has also said that look, life is very uncertain, and is given the simile of the life of water droplet on the leaf of a lotus stem. So don't take it for granted that you will achieve. Better start working immediately. And if that was not enough, he says, in any way, just understand whatever you are working for, whatever you are, for whomever you are getting, collecting all the things, they will stop bothering about you once you are old and unable to bring home whatever you say is I am getting for them. And the final blow was that the moment your breath leaves you, they will be afraid of this very body which you are so proud of and your spouse is so amorous of. They will reject it and want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So this is, I think, what we have done so far. And then we had also read the 7th verse, which is kind of autobiographical about each and every one of us. I'll just repeat it. Balastavat krida saktaha tarunastavat taruni saktaha vriddhastavat chinta saktaha parme brahmani kopina saktaha. As a child, this is autobiographical, as I said. As a child, all of us are engaged in playing. And as youth, we are engaged in passions. And as a elderly old person, we are engaged in pains and pangs of our suffering. and none of us has time to think of the supreme reality. Parme Brahmani kopi na sakta. Nobody is attached to that. So, as a kind of an automatic वो cruise mode होता है ना गाड़ी का, we are into this rut. We don't have to think. It's everybody is doing it. We also do it. So, what is the pratipaksh bhav here? Because each and every verse there is a pratipaksh bhav that we have to look for and follow. So, Swami Tejomayananda ji, as Guruji, as he is popularly known in Chinmay Mission, he has given a beautiful pratipaksh bhav. He says, Balas tavat shiksha saktaha. As a child, be engaged in learning. Tarunas tavat diksha nishtha. As a youth, be disciplined. Vriddhas tavat bhiksha vrittaha. As an elderly person, have the vritti of acceptance. Sa eva brahmani sada anurakta. Such a one will always be engaged in the remembrance of Brahman. So, now obviously, depending on your inclination, you will choose that path, but these are all important pointers which the sages and saints give us and warn against totally unmindful behavior of following the rut. So we go on to the any questions so far. We'll go to the next verse. So now I'm going to the next verse, which is the 8th one. Kate kanta kaste putraha samsaro yamativa vichitraha kasya tvam kah kut ayataha tattvam chintaya taddihi bhrataha Bhaj Govindam Govindam Bhaj Mudmate Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karne Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karne. So now this is where he is asking us to start thinking. So very first question he has raised is Kate Kanta Kaste Putra. Who is your wife? Who is your son? Now what does it mean? What does it mean by saying who is your wife and who is your son? Can we contribute, because then it becomes more meaningful. What could he be meaning when he raises this question?
हम अपने को लिमिट कर लेते हैं. एक तो ममत्व का भाव है कि ये मेरी है, ये मेरी पत्नी है, ये मेरा पुत्र है. तो उसमें हम डिस्टिंक्ट कर रहे हैं दूसरों से. तो जो सब में प्रभु की बात है उसको हम भूल जा रहे हैं. और मेरा जो है वो स्थायी है नहीं. जैसे चाहे वो अपने शरीर की बात हो या अपने बच्चों की बात हो या पत्नी की बात हो, उनका स्वास्थ्य कभी ऊपर नीचे होगा, कभी उनका मन ऊपर नीचे होगा. तो आपने उसके साथ अपने को जोड़ लिया तो वो आप उसमें उलझे रह जाओगे. और जो मतलब प्रभु का विस्तृत ये जो लीला है, इसमें जो कोई अपने सबको अपने कर्मों का, अपनी उनकी वासनाएं हैं, उनकी इच्छाएं हैं, तो वो सब अपना करेंगे फॉर व्हाटएवर दे, जो उनकी लाइफ में है. और हम जो है उसमें हम उनको प्रेम दे सकते हैं, अपना कर्तव्य कर्म करें, और करना ही चाहिए वो पत्नी के प्रति, बच्चों के प्रति, बट वो मेरे हैं, और रियलिटी में तो मेरे कैसे हो सकते हैं जब वो स्थायी कुछ है ही नहीं, और अगले पल का पता नहीं है, और मैन्युफैक्चर भी हमने नहीं किए हैं, कोई डिजाइन करके बच्चे जो है उनके नाक कान और सब बनाया नहीं, ये तो प्रभु की लीला है। तो इसलिए वही हम अपने अज्ञानवश इस सब को अपना मान करके, और यही तो मोह है। तो उसको जो है अगर हम सांसारिक तौर पर देखें तो भाई ठीक है, हम इस दुनिया में आए, हमारी कुछ इच्छाएं थी, हमारी कुछ लेन देन बकाया थी, उसको हम अपनी ड्यूटी करते हुए और प्रभु को अर्पित करते हुए चलें। This is what comes to my mind.
Yeah, I think you have said almost everything. Only thing is I'll add and request you to think. There is a term called becoming
And being.
Yeah. So when we say I am somebody's son or I am somebody's father, then we have become something, right? So that whom you are calling as your wife has become your wife, and earlier she was somebody's daughter. So you see the word becoming, you are changing, as Anil ji said, कुछ स्थायी नहीं है, हर चीज चेंज हो रहा है. So this being, becoming is something that is happening always. You are a son, daughter, then you have siblings, then you have brother, sister, then you have wife, husband, and then you are yourself father, mother, and so on, this carry on. But it keeps on changing, right? In work environment, you are having some designation. In the community you are living in, you are having some other designation. You are either a resident, or you are a secretary, or a president, etc., etc. So these are what are called upadhis. You are known by your upadhi, referred. But upadhi is not you. So what are upadhis for? Upadhis are for transactional purposes only. But we get entangled in them. So, Kate Kanta, who is your wife? We start giving a lengthy introduction, name, fame, village, education, so on and so forth. But the root we never go into. You and your wife, you are the same. But we get entangled in upadhis. Having said that, the question now arises, what is the purpose, as Anilji was saying, of this so-called family setup or any other? So if you look at it, everything has a purpose. For instance, the institution of family itself, Grahast. After attending some lectures of my Guru Ma way back in 90s, when I felt कि भाई ये तो सब चीज़ें बेकार हैं, तो ऐसे भी गृहस्थ का फिर फ़ायदा क्या है जब आपने छोड़ना ही है एक दिन वगैरह वगैरह, आपने डिटैच्ड लाइफ लीड करनी है. तो शी सेड दैट गृहस्थ जो है आपको सहनशीलता सिखाता है. You learn to absorb and learn to stay and maintain your equilibrium. अगर आपने गृहस्थ में सहनशीलता नहीं सीखी तो गृहस्थ का एक बहुत बड़ा फंक्शन आपने मिस कर दिया, विच टुडे नॉर्मली यू फाइंड रिजल्टिंग इन सो मेनी डिवोर्सेस. तो ये अगर आप हमारा सब संतों की वाणी और संतों से समझें, so a lot of issues can be resolved. What are you getting from the family? You are getting सहनशीलता, you are getting discipline, and so on and so forth. आप जब जब मेरा मेरा करोगे तब तब there will be discord, और तब जब जब आप देने के लिए करोगे, placing the other before yourself, service before self, तब तब आप में प्योरिटी बढ़ती जाएगी. सो सेल्फलेस वर्सेस सेल्फिश. और गृहस्थ जो है, इट गिव्स यू अ रेडीमेड एनवायरनमेंट टू डू इट विदाउट मेकिंग मच डिमांड ऑन यू. आप एकाएक बाहर जाकर वो सब नहीं कर सकते जो आप घर के अंदर कर सकते हो. दैट इज द एक्ट ऑफ गिविंग. बट उसके अंदर आप ये लगा लो कि भाई आई एम कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटिंग टू सोसाइटी बाय गिविंग सोसाइटी बेटर चिल्ड्रन who will in turn serve society for making it a better society, then that becomes worship. So this is how I see it. So in the last pad, भगवान से
अनु जी का भी व्यू सुने.
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
I'm only listening to both of you. नहीं लग रहा मैं कोई contribute पाऊंगी today on the listening mode, because I agree कि इस एरिया में मुझे ना थोड़ा लगता है कि I'm not qualified to probably.
मेरे ख्याल से तो अनु जी देखिए, हम सब लोग सीख रहे हैं, और आपको लाइक कौन सी चीज आपके दिल को लग रही है?
कि ये अच्छी लगी जो अरुण जी ने बोला कि हम गृहस्थ में, आई मीन दैट वाज अ वेरी वैलिड क्वेश्चन, कि हम लोग अगर हमें कुछ छोड़ना ही है और मोह माया में नहीं फंसना है, और तो हम उसे, बट दैट वाज पॉइंट कि मैं इसी में रह के वी आर लर्निंग इन इट. सो दैट वाज नाइस.
आप जनरली सहनशीलता इज़ नॉट अ वेरी इजी थिंग टू गेट. हमें सब में सहनशीलता की काफ़ी कमी है, और हर चीज़ में हम रिएक्टिव ज़्यादा हैं. और अगर गृहस्थ में रहकर हम सहनशील हो जाए तो इट इज़ द बिगेस्ट ब्लेसिंग. दिस इज़ व्हाट आई लर्नड फ्रॉम माँ दैट टाइम. एंड सो नाउ भगवान सेज इन द लास्ट पद, तत्वम चिंतय तदहि भ्राता. See, so far he's been calling us a fool. You are engaged in all this. Mudha. Now he says bhrata. Now it's time that you start thinking about the tattvam. Tat. On the reality. Chintaya. Start thinking of that reality here and now. Don't waste a single moment. You have wasted enough time pursuing things which would not have got you any returns. This is something which will iron out all your delusions and set you on the path which will be handy at end. We started with nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karne. Dukrin will not help you in the end. So any questions before you go into the next verse?
नहीं अरुण जी, this is clear.
अच्छा, Gurudev has said something very interesting in his commentary. This verse is basically now how enquiry is done. Gyan mark. Kahate putra, kahate kata, things like that. You start inquiring into each and everything. So Gurudev says, intelligent enquiry is the only antidote for the follies of delusion. Could you hear me?
Can you repeat it, because I think there was a bit of phase.
Actually मैंने देखा है अगर कुछ okay, I'll try and speak slowly because then these connections go away, or intelligent enquiry is the only antidote for the follies of delusion. This is, as I said, highlighting the path of enquiry, which is what Ramana Maharishi also follows. Who am I? That was his standard question to all. So then he says, who is your son? I'll read out the entire paragraph. It is beautiful. When you inquire, when you analyze your real relationship, you shall see that the son has become yours only after his birth. Before that, it was a fetus. Before that, it was only a seed in your loins, and that itself came from the food you assimilated. The food came from the earth. Thus, a clod of earth in its various manifestations became the fruit, the food, the seed, the fetus, and the child. And therefore, child itself is nothing but an effect of the ultimate cause, which is the mud. If you analyze yourself as a father, you too are nothing but the product of a clod of mud, of another period of time and place. One piece of mud then gets attached to another piece of mud. How strange, how powerful is delusion, this Maya. So only Gurudev can write such language, very powerful. So now, having talked about it, how to come out of all this delusion, you have inquired, and now you know that at the substratum, at the behind all, is that we are but Atma. This is what the indications are. So how do we go about it? So the next verse is very beautiful. Verse 9. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nishchal tattvam. Nishchal tattve jivan muktihi. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Govindam Bhaj Mudmate. Samprapte sannihite kale. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karve. So here he says that satsangatve nissangatvam. Through the company of good, satsang, santon ka saath, nissangatvam, you attain detachment. Through the attachment of the sant's company, you get detached from worldly things. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. So from nissangatvam, from detachment, you will be freed from your moha, delusions. Nirmohatvam. ठीक है? And nirmohatve nishchal tattvam. Once you are freed of delusions, then what is there? What did we say? What do delusions cover? Your pure self, the knowledge of. So once you are removed the delusions, then nishchal tattvam, then what comes forth is the immutable reality. And nishchal tattve jivan muktihi. From that immutable reality, you become liberated while living. Right? Bhaj Govindam. So this is a beautiful verse, and this is also called the ladder of rise from satsang to liberation. and hence you may understand why we are in satsang today and why we are doing it daily, because there is no better medicine or no better, whatever word you want to say, pill than satsang for this mark. So satsang, as already discussed, is the company of the saints, who are enlightened people, who are wise people, who are noble people, walking the path of spirituality. Now, who gets this company? So, Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas ji has said, bin hari mile nahi san, bin hari mile na santa. This is what Vibhishan says when Hanumanji comes there. Bin hari mile nahi santa. So he says that unless there is a blessing of the Lord, you will not meet saintly people. And it is also said, bin satsang vivek na hoy. Without satsang, you will also not develop the discernment between the reality and the non-real. Vivek is Atma Anatma Vivek. So without satsang, आपको ये भी नहीं होगा. So that importance of satsang is highlighted everywhere. This is what this verse is also saying. We will study it in depth tomorrow. Do the reading of the commentary by Gurudev and think about it also, so that we can have a meaningful discussion. Yes, Anilji, anything?
Nice. बात सरल है. ये है कि इतने पल हमें ये ध्यान रहता है. आधा घंटा रोज तो हम लोग मिले के बाद जो 23.5 घंटे हैं, उसमें से कितनी देर अपने को ये याद रहे. प्रभु से ऐसी प्रार्थना करें कि वो रहे.
मैं सोचता हूँ जो भी सत्संग में हैं वो 23.5 घंटे दे शुड बी बेचैन फॉर द नेक्स्ट हाफ एन आवर. जो भी करें दे शुड हैव एट द बैक ऑफ द माइंड कि वो आधा घंटा हमें मिलना है और अपने जो भी दिन की एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, जो हमारी रिफ्लेक्शंस हैं, वो शेयर कर रहे हैं. इफ दैट हैपन्स देन इट विल बिकम वेरी वेरी पावरफुल. चलिए, सो आई विल सी द कंक्लूडिंग प्रेयर.
जी.
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. Thank you all for joining. May the Lord's blessing be with us and may we reach our destination. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Yes.